Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel English Literature. Today we will continue with Philip Sidney that we stopped for the background noise started suddenly. There some work was going on in my neighborhood and also for my exhaustion. So let's continue. Astrophel and Stella. 1575. Sidney met Penelope Devereux, who is little known as Lady Rich. She inspired him to write Astrophel and Stella. The famous sonnet sequence. It contains 108 sonnets. You will find that these all are information based. When, the date, for whom, how many, and there are 11 songs. The name derives from the two Greek words aster, that means star, and phil means lover. Star lover. So star, what is star? Star is far beyond the earth, beyond the sky, and the lover is thinking of her, trying to gain that love. That love is not cannot be easily gained, easily conquered. And the Latin word Stella also means star. So Astrophel is the star lover and Stella is his star. Sidney followed the Petrarchan rhyme scheme in his 108 sonnets with some variations. It was a Petrarchan rhyme scheme means what? I talked sonnets in detail. Shakespearean sonnet, Spenserian sonnet, Petrarchan sonnet, octave and sestet. It was, if you forget, then go to the sonnet series again. It was a great success and sparked a craze for sonnet sequence. So Astrophel and Stella was very important because Sidney's Astrophel and Stella became very much popular, and the next generation poet and even his contemporary poets started writing sonnet because it was so popular. This new type. It was the first major sonnet sequence in English literature. Penelope Devereux was married to Lord Rich in 1581, and it tracks, this sonnet series tracks the unhappy life of Astrophel. Astrophel did not get her Stella. Stella married someone else, and this pain, this agony, this bereavement, this lamentation was expressed here. Can you hear the bird is singing? There is a mango tree just beside my window and two birds are singing there. Okay, sorry for the diversion. The poet lover's pain is portrayed beautifully in these sonnets. Penelope became the Stella of the first great sonnet sequence in English. Now, first edition was printed by Thomas Newman in 1591, 5 years after Sidney's death. Thomas Nash wrote the preface. Very important. Who wrote the preface of Sidney's Astrophel and Stella? Thomas Nash. It contains verses from other poets. You have to keep in mind that in Astrophel and Stella there is also the verses from other poets, and who are they? Thomas Campbell, Samuel Daniel, and Earl of Oxford. 1576, Sidney returned to England, appointed as a cup-bearer of the Queen. Then he went to Ireland. Then you can find some similarity. Spencer also went to Ireland as a clerk, Lord Grey. His first published work was Discourse on Irish Affairs 1577. Here he supported his father's harsh anti-Irish policies. Do you remember in our first video what we talked? His father was appointed as a deputy person in some official position in Ireland after 1560, and he supported his father's anti-Irish policies in his work Discourse on Irish Affairs, and the same thing happens with Spencer. Spencer supported Lord Grey's approaches to the Irish people. When Lord Grey was summoned back to England for his harsh attitude to Irish people, Spencer wrote in supporting him, Lord Grey. So Spencer supported his boss, his the Lord Deputy of Ireland then was Lord Grey, and here Sidney supported his father. So there is similarity between Sidney and Spencer in this respect. And what was Spencer's work? A view of the present state of Ireland. So keep it in mind, Spencer wrote a view of the present state of Ireland in support of his patron, or support of Lord Grey, under whom he used to work. And Sidney also wrote discourse on Irish affair on support of his father. Now return back to England, he wrote The Lady of May. It is a pastoral one-act play. It was a piece of entertainment in Queen's honour. 1581, he was elected to Parliament. 1583, he was knighted. All these years you have to keep in mind. 1586, he supported colonization scheme. Yeah, obviously he will support. We already get this from his book when he supported his father, because the harsh attitudes to the Irish people, that his father is just making them civilized. What man's burden to civilize all the aboriginals, all the uncivilized people. So from their attitude, when they are supporting this harsh treatment toward the aboriginal people, it is quite common that they are supporters of colonialism. So he supported colonization scheme and planned to join Francis Drake on a voyage to New World. He helped in this planning to settle in the colony of Virginia, but he later abandoned this plan and led an expedition against Spanish forces. Anyway, you remember in that Walter Raleigh, you will find this information in a first video on America, that Walter Raleigh finally go there in Virginia. So Sidney just avoided that plan and joined Spanish military maneuvers in Judovan, and that is very important. That is story. He was okay. Later the story. He was mortally wounded and he died on 17th October 1586, only at the age of 32. And here is a story regarding this. I read it when I was a child, and I feel that everyone have read the story. That Sidney was given water, but Sidney found another severely wounded soldier, and he offered his water to that soldier, telling that your need is more than me. That type of generosity of heart he showed to the wounded soldier. Now we will discuss Arcadia. The full text is The Countess of Pembourne's Arcadia. My first video was very short because of the disturbance was the main cause. Otherwise I can proceed a little bit more, but the sound started, so I just stop it. But I am now proceeding how much I can. Arcadia, full title The Countess of Pembourne's Arcadia. You have to keep in mind the full title of Arcadia. 1577 Mary. Who is Mary? Sidney's younger sister. Mary was married to Henry Herbert, Earl of Pembroke. So you find this name, it is related to this. So Mary was married to Henry Herbert, Earl of Pembroke. They started living at Pembroke's Wiltshire mansion, Wilton House. Sidney often visited her, and there in that place Sidney wrote this long romance, Arcadia. And it took several years to write, 1577 to 1580. Now, after completing 18,000 words of the old version in 1580, he began a long and intricate revision. So, he started revising his earlier work, but he cannot complete this revising work, the revision. That is called New Arcadia. So Arcadia is 2. Old Arcadia he finished, and when he started revising the New Arcadia, it started New Arcadia, but he cannot finish it. Anyway, the New Arcadia was unfinished, and 11 years after his death in 1593, his sister Mary published his significant works in a collection called The Countess of Pembourne's Arcadia. So his sister did this. Old version, it is a romance in 5 books. Muse was his sister Mary, because he wrote in the place of his sisters, and his sister accompanied him in that time. Source: chivalric romances in French and Italian. That was the source. Arthurian legend. And there is also classical influence like Apuleius' Golden Ass, Heliodorus' Ethiopian history. These were the classical influence. So Arcadia was influenced by all these. It epitomizes the courtly love. Its pastoral quality reminds us of Virgil's eclogue. So it is similar to Virgil's eclogues in its pastoral quality. Now 1583 Sidney married Frances Walsingham. In that year Sidney was knighted by the Queen. It is his most significant ambitious work by him. It is his magnum opus. What? Arcadia. Two versions of it was found, Old Arcadia and New Arcadia. He wrote these with the purpose to entertain his sister Mary Herbert, the Countess of Pembroke. Around 1580, Sidney completed the older version, that is called Old Arcadia. It was forgotten and lost in oblivion. How does it found that there is two Arcadia? This story. In 1908, Barton Dobell. Who was Barton Dobell? He was an antiquarian. He has the habit to collect all the antique things. He found that his Arcadia that he has bought differs from the other published edition. So there must be two Arcadia. So in 1908 it was found that there is two Arcadias. Story of Old Arcadia. Story of Basilius, Duke of Arcadia, who journeys to the oracle at Delphi and receives a dark foreboding. His daughters will be kidnapped by undesirable suitors, and he will be cuckolded by his wife. His throne will be insured by a foreign state. So all these foretelling just frightened the king, frightened the duke. So what he did? He, being frantic with their predicaments, he enters the Arcadia government to his loyal subject Philanax and retired to a pastoral cottage with his wife Janesia and their daughters Pamela and Philoclea. And from this Pamela will find Richardson's Pamela. We will talk in details about this in later Arcadia. When we talk about Arcadia in details. And also they took with them, they took the servant Damitas. So all of them just retired to the pastoral cottage due to the foreboding. And New Arcadia is the most famous version throughout the Renaissance. It is longer than Old Arcadia, more than double, and several episodes with the older version, episode of Revel, such things there was not missing. And he infused various other things. Sidney has not finished this due to his untimely death in 1586. The New Arcadia is a romance. It combines pastoral elements with political treachery, kidnapping, battles, abduction. 1593, Arcadia was published by Mary Herbert. And William Shakespeare borrowed from the Arcadia the plot and structure of his famous plays. Very, very important. Arcadia was source of William Shakespeare's play, King Lear, Winter's Tale, and Hamlet. In this play, Shakespeare used some things from the Arcadia. Even the later dramatists like Samuel Daniel, James Shirley, John Day, Beaumont and Fletcher, they are also influenced by this work. Okay. So with this today I will stop, and next day I feel that one more video I have to make on Sidney. Sorry for that.